Hey, so I asked on Tumblr, Facebook, and Twitter for some Q&A questions, and Twitter was chirp chirp, really quiet. But I did get some questions on Tumblr and Facebook. So I'm gonna have my buddy ask me some questions. What happens if you're hospitalized for an ED but you are still overweight? I found it hard to get hospitalized for an ED when I was more overweight. When I was at a normal weight or when I was a little overweight, they didn't tend to take my problems seriously, and they didn't really want to admit me. I guess if you are admitted, it's pretty much the same thing that happens if you're underweight. They try to make you eat. They keep you from throwing up. Maybe by keeping you in a room with a locked bathroom or without a bathroom for a few hours after you eat. So that's what happens. How do you cope when it's years later and you feel there is still no end in sight? God. Do you know the answer to that? Because I don't know the answer to that, and it's I wish I knew the answer to that. I don't want to cry. I wish I knew the answer to that. So I'm not gonna answer because I'm daft. I'm completely daft. And I don't know. So, how can you cope with horrible self-harm urges without giving in? Well, I have a whole playlist on my channel dedicated to ways to avoid self-harm, so that's one thing. And I'm not the only one who talks about that. There are other YouTubers out there talking about how to avoid self-harm. So watching videos and learning or looking it up, ways to avoid self-harm, Google it, and you'll find lists of things. One thing that got me through, when I was a whole year and 8 months self-harm free, that was a big accomplishment for me. And one thing that I did was always remind myself of my goals. And I said, Melissa, if you do this, then you lose your goals. And I would have to kind of talk to myself. It was kind of be my own mother kind of thing, and just talk myself down and say, that is not an option. That is not an option. If you go there, then you ruin everything. And also I wanted to be an example. If you have someone that you want to be an example for, you may not have YouTube like I have. I want to be an example for you guys. Not everyone has that, but you can still have family or someone close, maybe a cousin that's hurting themselves too. Be an example to someone. Anyways, it's a lot of self-talk for me. Self-talk was how I pretty much got through a lot of those kinds of things, and also having lists of things that you can do, like things that pastimes that you can do, talking and writing, all kinds of things that help you deal and get through it. How are you doing right now? How am I doing right now? I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm fine. I can't even answer that without crying, because I could only give myself away, but I'm not fine. God, this Q&A is just this cry fest. I'm gonna try not to do that. But how am I doing right now? My Tourette's got so much. Now that I'm talking about Tourette's, my Tourette's got better. I still had regular tics, like echolalia, coprolalia, going he he he, ha ha ha, hop hop hop, and all kinds of noises and movements, and I still had that, but I didn't have tic attacks where I was on the floor with this epileptic-like looking seizure, where it was just full body tics and completely conscious of everything, can last anywhere from 2 minutes to 2 hours. I didn't have those for like a month and a half, and maybe even 2 months. And I was planning on moving to Montreal. I moved to Montreal and everything was good, and I didn't have the attacks, and I was like floating on air. It was great. It was wonderful, and I could handle the Tourette's the way that it was, with just the regular little ticks. Up, 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 up. One, two, three, fuck. I could handle that, but I couldn't handle the tick attacks when they came back, and it happened maybe, which isn't as bad as it had been. Like, it had been up to 12 times a day that I would have them a few months ago, and now they're about twice a day, and I can I'm fine. Can you do a video of a poetry writing tutorial? You know, I did a video about a writing tutorial. I think it's called Writing Tutorial by Seawater or something like that. And I gave examples about ways that I found were helpful in writing or not helpful in writing. But I think poetry is, you know, it's different for everyone. You know, you find your own style. It's different for everyone. You know, write poetry, be original, and that's it. If you could only watch one TV show / movie for the rest of your life, what would it be? Stardate. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? You know, again with the depressing stuff, with this Q&A, there's just something wrong with this Q&A. When I first read that question, my thought was, I don't even know if I'm gonna be here in 5 years. Gosh, with the crying and the ticks. With the crying and the ticks and the crying and the ticks. And it's just, this is the worst Q&A in the history of Q&As. I just think I'm not gonna be here because I might not be able to put up with it for much longer. And that's ridiculous, you know. Oh, what was the question? Where do I see myself in 5 years? You know what? Let's say I have survived every one of my worst days. Every one of them. And that means something. It means I'm resilient. It means I'm a fighter. It means I keep going. So, in 5 years, I'll be here. I will be here in 5 years. And, if nothing else, that's something. God, with the ticks and the crying. I will be here in 5 years. Because I'm too damn stubborn not to be. And, you know what? Maybe I'll still be in Montreal. Maybe I'll have grown my Tourette's meetup. Maybe I'll have started a unit for Tourette's in Montreal. You know, I think I hope I'll still be on YouTube. I hope I'll still have things to say in 5 years. You know, I don't know exactly. I don't have this big plan anymore. Like I used to have this big plan of taking in foster kids, and I don't have that anymore. But I hope I make up some really good plans, or something great will happen along the way, and I'll still be here. I'll be here in 5 years. Hobbies? Hobbies. Hobbies is a good one. That's nice and neutral. It's good. I like it. It might be pathetic. I don't know, but a lot of my free time is spent with YouTube. Not just making the videos and editing them and uploading them. There's also answering questions from you guys. You know, mail. I get mail from you guys constantly and regularly, and which is wonderful. Because it means that I can be in contact with you guys, and I love that actually, I really do. I also have a lot of television, download movies and series, and I watch those, and what else? I like to read, I like to write. I haven't been writing so much poetry lately, but I've got a book in my head, and I want to put that to paper. When do intrusive thoughts become a problem? You know, in a way they're always a problem, because intrusive thoughts are never pleasant. When they become a problem, I guess, like a real, like, problem would be when it interferes with your life. If it gets to the point where you can't deal with it anymore, then it's definitely something that you might want to address in therapy or something like that. But I would say it's always a problem, because intrusive thoughts, gross, yuck, no, want that, no. I'm gonna read this one because it's long. My dad makes fun of people who are different in any way. He makes fun of people with Tourette's, autism, physical appearance, sexual orientation, and anything else, and I know he doesn't really mean it, but it's rude and I don't know how to tell him to stop. I'm overweight, and it is very uncomfortable when he makes fun of other overweight people. What should I do? That's a good question. What should you do? It's really hard, because especially when it's someone that, you know, we're really close to, a parent, and they're an authority figure, so it's kind of hard. And I'm gonna suck at answering this question. I really am. I would, when I had issues with my family, any member that needed to be addressed, I would sometimes write them a letter, and because it was so hard to say in person. And then either they would write me a letter back, or they would come to me with a letter and say, hey, let's talk about this. I'm going to end these questions now. There are more that were sent to me through PMs on YouTube, but this video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to end it here.